Give it 10 or 15 years and downtown Raleigh could look very, very different. The city is looking at a multi-billion-dollar plan to update the Dix Park corridor, a new high-rise in Glenwood South, an updated Red Hat Amphitheater, a new convention center, a fresh look for Fayetteville Street, and more. It's all part of a larger effort to revitalize downtown. And you know, everyone from hot dog vendors to the president of the Downtown Raleigh Alliance agrees this needs to happen.
There's no doubt that you got to create more of a destination feel. And so we're trying to do that as well.
When you come downtown Raleigh, there's either a restaurant or a lawyer's office. Nothing's wrong with either, but you know, to bring more foot traffic, then more small businesses to come and open up as well.
All of these big ideas sound great, but it will take city leadership to shepherd that change. And that's where you come in. People in Raleigh will vote for one of these 5 candidates to lead the city. I don't have to tell you, Election Day is less than 2 weeks away. We are almost in the home stretch. We spent the last 2 days talking about housing and public safety. Tonight, let's walk through what the candidates for Raleigh want to do to revitalize downtown. First up, mortgage broker Paul Fitz. He has an idea that really no one else is proposing. He wants to put a casino in Raleigh.
I would like to see the casino entertainment side take away shows from DPAC and leave them here in Raleigh. I think it would be better for us and we wouldn't have to drive to Durham to spend our money on shows.
Fitz thinks the city could use the revenue from a casino to pay for public safety. Meantime, community activist Eugene Myrick and NC State Assistant Professor Terrance Ruth believe that really Raleigh can do a better job of celebrating its rich history. Both of them referenced Ella Baker, an influential part of the civil rights movement and a guide for Martin Luther King Jr. Both Myrick and Ruth say the city needs to tell her story in a way that'll bring in visitors.
Every time I go to Atlanta, I always manage to end up at Ebenezer Church or Dr. King's home. Like, that entire block has been preserved. So it's not like you're going to see Dr. King's house and it's next to a 20-story building. So things like that bring culture, they bring tourism. So we're not utilizing what we have.
We're not doing a good enough job of telling the story of Raleigh through the people that have built it up.
Character is a term that links you to some story. And right now, we're sitting on stories that could really bring amazing character. How do we make a place that really centers the stories that this city sort of rests on? And right now, I think we are leaving some of those stories untouched.
Former State Treasurer Janet Cowell thinks her contacts and her connections give her an edge for downtown development. She told me something that actually caught my attention. She claims there are 20 blocks in downtown Raleigh without any retail. Cowell says her network of politicians, nonprofit leaders, business leaders can help figure out what to do with that space and other parts of downtown.
So recently I was having lunch with the head of the Museum of Natural Sciences downtown, which I'm sure many of us have gone to, and she was stating, you know, it's just really rare that anybody gets all the heads of those museums together to talk about how they can work off of each other and maybe encourage people to, you know, make a half day of it. You go to Marbles with your kid in the morning, and then maybe you go over to the Science Museum and you stop at the coffee shop or the lunch spot. So one thing is just the power of a mayor to convene and have that allow people to think through, well, what are the ways, you know, churches, a lot of people go to church downtown. How are we encouraging people to stay or feel safe, and brunch, and, you know, how are we working together on those kind of things?
James Shaughnessy, a student at William Peace University, tries to think about this through the lens of young people. And he says revitalization is tied to safety.
I don't go downtown with my fiance because it just doesn't feel safe to us. We'll go maybe once or twice a year, but it doesn't feel as safe as it used to when I was growing up. And so we have to, even recently, like, we have purchased new private security to keep us safe, which shows a lot bigger problem within the city than it should. And, you know, opening it up to make it safer and more enticing to young people is a very big step in revitalizing that downtown space.
What you've heard from the candidates tonight and this week are just snippets from my full interviews with them. Again, you can watch those full interviews on WRAL.com and the WRAL YouTube page. We discuss at length the biggest issues facing Raleigh right now. Hopefully, this helps you understand whose ideas fit your values, whose positions align with the Raleigh you want to see. That's what we do here at 7 o'clock. We cut through the noise and the talking points to think clearly. That's especially important when it comes time to mark your ballot.